It's not hard to see why Beijing was relieved after Donald Trump's loss and Joe Biden's victory. Trump was the first American president since Nixon's 1972 opening to China who recognized that the Communist Party ruling Beijing was a serious problem for the United States. And then Trump did something about it.
China's pattern of misconduct is well known. For decades, they've ripped off the United States like no one has ever done before. Hundreds of billions of dollars a year were lost dealing with China, especially over the years during the prior administration. China raided our factories, offshored our jobs, gutted our industries, stole our intellectual property. If they charge us, we charge them the same thing. That's the way it's got to be. That's not the way it is. For many, many years, for many decades, it has not been that way.
Joe Biden's posture regarding the CCP has been much less confrontational.
Secretary Kerry and President Xi have heard me say this before, and I sort of learned it from you, Dr. Kissinger. It's presumptuous to try to improve on Tip O'Neill, who said all politics is personal. I've become convinced from watching you over 40 years, all international politics is ultimately personal. If you can't establish a personal relationship, you don't have to love one another, but you can't establish a personal relationship where you understand one another, it's awfully hard to get anything done. I had the opportunity of traveling from Beijing to Chengdu and every other place in between with the hospitality of the president. We had more hours of dinners alone than I think he ever anticipated.
Joe Biden's dealings with the Chinese go back long before he was the vice president. And remember how long Biden has been working in Washington. This man served in the Senate for over 3 decades. He was also head of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, where Joe Biden also ran up against China and other American adversaries. So Joe Biden's experience of China does not only begin when he is vice president of the United States, and he winds up taking his son Hunter Biden on Air Force Two for an official trip. Remember that only months before the November 2020 election, America's mainstream media censored a substantiated story showing Hunter Biden's involvement in major business deals with China. One email confirmed as real by one of Biden's former business partners read, 10 held by H for the big guy. Translation, 10% for Joe Biden, held by Hunter. One email found on Hunter's abandoned laptop described a deal with Chinese businessmen who, according to Hunter Biden, were tied to Chinese intelligence. It appears that means the current president of the United States was taking a 10% cut from Chinese businessmen connected to Chinese intelligence services. The rest of the elite rose as if a single organism to defend him, to protect him from news of scandals within his own family. And it's important to note, the relationships with the Chinese Communist Party weren't just Hunter Biden. In a sense, the Biden family has thrown Hunter, the troubled son, to the wolves. If we really want to look at different people who are managing relationships for the Biden family in the Biden family, it's important to look at Joe Biden's brother, Jim. Remember, he's the one who was actually establishing the relationship with Chinese officials. And we learned that in 2016, while Joe Biden was vice president, an investment firm founded by Hunter Biden with Chinese partners was part of a $3.8 billion deal that transferred a critical cobalt mine from an American company to a Chinese company. Why, in 2013, did 43-year-old Hunter Biden accompany his father, the vice president of the United States, on an official state visit to China? Was he there to soak in the views and enjoy quality family time with his father? Or could it have had something to do with the private equity fund that Hunter founded with his Chinese partners? China wants a comprehensive picture of everything. They want to understand charts and graphs of human networks inside of Washington and throughout the United States. They want to know precisely who our elites are and who they work and how they operate, because they want to know who is connected to whom. What pressure can you put on this person to get a response from this other person? And this is one of the reasons why the Chinese would go out of their way to work with Hunter Biden, Jim Biden, and of course Joe Biden, even when it appeared in 2017 that Joe Biden was not going to run for president of the United States. Before anyone had a clear idea of that, the Chinese were out there already working that angle. Beijing casts a wide net and sometimes finds that those swept up may someday be useful.